We are now moving on a little bit further into lesson 4-2. This section, chunk 2, which would be question 5 only, is going to ask us to use the angle addition postulate, which is that part we just came up with on the previous slide that said angle ABD plus the measure of angle DBC equals the measure of the whole, which was ABC. So it says use this postulate and the given information to complete each statement. It says if P is in the interior of angle XYZ, the measure of XYP is 25 and the measure of PYZ is 50, then what's the measure of XYZ? Here, part B, it says if M is in the interior of RTD, the measure of RTM is 40 and the measure of RTD is 65. Find the measure of MTD. Letter C says if H is in the interior of angle EFG and the measure of EFH is 75 and the measure of HFG is 10x and the measure of EFG is 20x minus 5, then find x and HFG. And in the last one it says lines DB and EC intersect at point F like follows. And it tells you that if the measure of angle BFC is 44 and the measure of angle AFB is 61, and then it wants to find these three measures. I want you to take 6 minutes with your table mates to keep in mind your angle addition postulate and to walk through all of question 5. So go ahead, pause your video, take 6 minutes time. Now, as you can see, the answers to question number 5 have been provided, but I want to go into detail. You'll notice that for each one of these, I went ahead and I drew a picture so I could kind of see what was going on. It says P is in the interior. So what I did was I drew the XYZ and then I put a ray going to P somewhere in between that angle. And then I set it up. Well, the key here is none of these are drawn to scale. I'm just trying to get an estimate for what I'm trying to figure out so I can see the pieces. Here it gave me 25 and 50. So if I'm looking for XYZ, that would be the part plus the part equals the whole. So that would have been 75. But here for question B, notice that it gave you the part and the whole. So you would have had to do some subtraction. So hopefully you did not write 105 here. You should have written 25. There were a couple of steps involved for part C. I drew my picture out over here. It gave you a small piece as 75 and another small piece to say 10x. And then it gave you the whole piece to be 20x minus 5. So I had to set up an equation. The part plus the part equals the whole, and then I had to solve for x. And after solving for x, I then had to plug it back into the 10x to get the second part of this. In part D, it was key to remember that straight lines are 180 degrees because you needed that concept a few times. So you'll see I started off with question 1 or part 1 over here. I did part 2 way over here, and you'll see my math behind it. And then part 3. But you had to use the concept of a straight line being 180 degrees. On to your debriefing.